have the biography of the poet we just read about. Alec Derwent Hope was born on the 21st of July 1907 at Cooma in the Snowy Mountains area of southern New South Wales, where his father was a Presbyterian minister. He was educated at home and at schools in Tasmania and New South Wales as the family moved around to different parishes. Matriculating at Sydney University, he graduated Bachelor of Arts with majors in English and Philosophy in 1928 and won a scholarship to University College, Oxford. His Oxford career, however, was not a distinguished one. He returned to Sydney in 1932 with a disappointing third-class degree and trained as a teacher. In 1937, Hope married Penelope Robinson, with whom he had 3 children. He was appointed lecturer in education at the Sydney Teachers College in 1937, later becoming lecturer in English there from 1938 to 1944. During the 1940s, Hope took part in the Australian Broadcasting Commission (ABC) children's session as Anthony Inkwell, conducting the literary section of the Argonauts Club. God, that sounds really old, doesn't it? Argonauts Club. In 1945, he moved to the University of Melbourne, and in 1951 was appointed Professor of English at Canberra Uni College, later the Australian National University, where he taught until his retirement in 1968. Although he had been writing for most of his life, he did not publish any of his verse until the 1930s. His first collection, The Wandering Islands, did not appear until 1955, by which time he had built a reputation as a poet through publications in various periodicals and magazines. It was praised for Hope's skillful use of traditional verse forms and critique of contemporary values, and received the Grace Levin Poetry Prize. His second collection, Poems, in 1960 was published in London, underscoring the fact that for many years Hope was the best Australian poet international, appearing in many anthologies and receiving in 1965 the Arts Council of Great Britain Poetry Award, in 1968 the Levinson Prize for Poetry, Chicago, and in 1969 the Ingram Memorial Award for Literature in New York. A small volume of selected poems, A.D. Hope, 1963, in Angus and Robertson's Australian Poet Series, soon followed by collected poems, 30 to 1965. Thereafter, collections of new poems appeared at regular intervals, interspersed by new editions of selected poems in 1972, 86, and 1992, the latter sharing the ACT Book of the Year Award in 1993, late picking poems in 1965-1974, received the Age Book of the Year Award, Imaginative Writing Prize for 1976. The satiric note so strong in much of Hope's poems, as in his early work, especially in that poem Like Australia, and seen especially in his mock heroic Dunciad Minor, 1970, a contemporary version of the English 18th century poet Alexander Pope's The Dunciad, is less evident in his late poems. His interest in mythology, seen as embodying the great commonplaces of human life, remained until the end, as it is apparent the titles of his final collection, Orpheus, 1991. In addition to many volumes of poetry, Hope was a widely published critic, reviewer, and editor. The Cave and the Spring, Essays on Poetry, 1965, won both the 1965 Britannica Australia Literary Award and the Volkswagen Award 1966. After some years in a Canberra nursing home, Hope died on July 13, 2000. In 1981, he'd been made a companion in the Order of Australia for services of literature. So that's a bit of a study on the life of A.D. Hope. Now we're going to be doing one of my poems. This has been published. This is one of my most